Expert! Rush Tricks! Hello again and welcome back to this week's episode. And yes, this week we are doing a little bit of everything. We are talking yard sales, car boots, charity shops. I will go anywhere looking for video games. I need to feed that addiction. But first off, let's head to the car boot. Whoa there, before we head off to the car boot, I just want to remind you folks at home watching, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I want you folks along for the ride. Now, to the car boot. Here we go then, we are back again. It has been a while since I've been to the Midweek car boot. The weather hasn't been great, but we're here and let's see if we can find some gems amongst a few stands that are here. So straight in, and the first thing I managed to find was this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie DVD. And, you know, I have actually been looking for this DVD for a while. DVD or Blu-ray, not really fussy, just because this isn't on any of the streaming sites, so picking this up 50p is a great start. Next stall was kind of one of these bric-a-brac stalls, but hiding amongst all the weird stuff was this Stormtrooper light. And yeah, you know I love lights in the games rooms, yeah, and I can't actually believe how much I paid for this, 10p. And the worst thing is I had to pay with a £10 note. Heading round, as the pickings were slim, I did go through one of these kind of house clearance boxes, but I did find this big box PC game. I literally know nothing about it, but for £1, I'll pick it up. So, you know, it's the thing with the Midweek car boots. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're bad, but let's head on. The Midweek car boot is always a weird one. It can be really hit and miss, and sadly this time it was a miss. But that's not the only place I've been hunting recently. If you did not know, last weekend was the Platinum Jubilee of the Queen here in England, also known as the Platty Jubes. And to celebrate, my local town of Wyndham was putting on a yard sale. That's right, over 70 houses spread across the town were putting on a yard sale to celebrate the Platinum Jubilee. And you know, I'm all for a yard sale. We don't get them very often, so you knew I was going to hit it up bright and early on a Saturday morning, so let's head there now. Here is this week's big question, and I'm afraid it is one for the UK viewers this week. How many of you have been to a yard sale in the UK? And I don't mean a car boot, I mean specifically a yard sale. I have never seen one before, so please, if you have, let me know in the comments down below. So it's the Platinum Jubilee, and what better way to celebrate than with some great British yard sailing. And yeah, I really did not know what to expect from this. I just knew there was going to be tons of houses in a town near me, and I had to at least go and check it out. But it was not the best thing I've ever been to. It was, I wouldn't really even say it's kind of up to the standard of a normal car boot. It seemed more like a lot of people were kind of clearing out junk, but you know, you have to kind of sometimes sift through all the junk to find some gems. And this X-Wing was kind of interesting, but I did pass up on it. But the next stall I actually came to, I did get a few bits off. So the first one I picked up was this Atari plug-and-play for just £1. And it also had a Fallout bobblehead. But the worst thing was, they said earlier they had a lot more gaming stuff. So gutted I missed out there. There just didn't really seem to be any rhyme or reason to a lot of stalls. Like this next one was pretty cool. It did have a lot of stuff that was kind of obviously from loot boxes. But yeah, some of this stuff is really cool to decorate the games with. But there was nothing really that stood out to me, but you know, that was the kind of the gamble with the yard sale. I didn't really know what it was going to be like. I was pretty gutted about this little pit boy, because this seems someone had tried to cut his head off for some bizarre reason. This was actually the first time I'd ever been yard sailing. It was a kind of a cool experience, but you know, it's something that doesn't really happen as much in the UK, but who knows, maybe in the next few years it'll take off a little bit more. It'd be cool to see a lot more like this. I just hope, you know, I can find a few more bits that are kind of more suited for what I'm looking for. The yard sale may have been a bit of a bust, but there's always the charity shops to save it. And the first one I headed into had a couple of strategy guides. You know, if these are pretty cheap and decent games, I'm going to pick them up. Because as I've said before, these are expensive to send on eBay. So anything basically under a £5, I'm going to pick up. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see this Dragon Age Awakening, one of my favourite RPGs of all time. What was kind of annoying, I really would have picked up this Dragon Age like hardback book, but it was 15 quid. 15 quid in a charity shop is quite a lot of money. I did look it up on eBay, it was about the asking price. Now here is something you don't see every day, Star Wars Bubble Bath. These were really cool. They actually did have the bubble bath in. It seems they were from Marks and Spencer's. I kind of like the writing on it, if you can see that. It does have some pretty classic Star Wars quotes. I did really like these. If they'd probably been £1 each, I would have probably picked these up, if nothing else, for display. But yeah, very cool to see. But something I have never seen before is a NES game in a charity shop. It was £5. It's a NES game I don't own. You know I'm picking that up. Find of the day. If you are serious about game hunting, you need to have the right tools. And what is better than this PlayStation wallet for just 75p? I love it. It looks like a PS1. It has space in here for all your cards and all your cash. This is my #1 game hunting accessory now. Heading around the last few charity shops, and yeah, this was disappointing. This Fable Collector's Edition wasn't even complete and was 15 quid. I know it's a collector's edition, it's not even that expensive, it's not the most exciting collector's edition of all time. It's pretty disappointing. On to one of the last charity shops of the day, and actually had some decent games in stock, and these were all £1 each. You know, I would have probably picked up his Top Spin game for the original Xbox. I'm always looking to boost that collection. I did pick one up in here, and that is specifically to flip, and that is Dark Souls 2. Bought it for £1, and it trades in at CX for £3, so kind of a no-brainer there. Finally, for this day in the charity shops, here is something you do not see very often, and that is Jurassic Park toys in a charity shop. And this is, of course, the Indoraptor from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And yeah, for a couple of quid, you know I'm picking that up for the shelf. The yard sale may have been a bit of a bust, but at least the charity shops came through. But they are not the only charity shops that have come through recently for me. Like, there is a charity shop just around the corner where I work, and I've been hitting it up about once or twice a week, and I just keep scoring it. I keep getting fantastic deals, so I'm going to show you a load of those right now. You'll probably recognise this charity shop from a video I did recently when I said charity shops, how often is too often, and it just seems too often is just all the time in this place. Every time I seem to go in recently, I find something cool. So I do already own this test drive game, but if you do not, you should pick it up because it's an amazing driving game. And this next game is one I definitely picked up, Midnight Club Dub Edition, and it is the remix version, which is the slightly more expensive version of this game. So for £2.50, I'm definitely going to pick it up. And this is something you do not see every day in a charity shop. PS1 games. I know they might not be the biggest and best titles of all time, but for £2.50 I'm going to pick most of these up. But I'm never going to really pick things up by Midas Games. These pocket money games are normally just absolute trash, but V-Rally for £2.50, definitely going to add that one. And the thing is, these cases are in good condition as well. Something you always have to think about when you're picking up PS1 games is if you have a decent case or if you can replace them. But £2.50 PlayStation 1 games in 2022, you know I'm picking all of these up. If you ever wonder what kind of person picks up all this stuff that Paladone makes, spoiler alert, it is me. I love their kind of novelty mugs, their gaming lights, all the stuff they do, I just eat it up. And yeah, I saw this mug and knew I needed this on the shelf for £3.50, pretty happy. We're back again about a week later, and once again they've restocked all of their games. They just seem to have a decent amount of stock come through this charity shop, so it's a perfect place for me, especially when it's just around the corner from my work. So I've never seen this game before. Nailed, let me know if I should have picked that one up. There was a lot of FIFAs in here, as there is in every single charity shop. I did think at first this was the FIFA that flips into CX for £2, but that is of course FIFA 16. But yeah, there were some interesting titles in here, such as, I don't know why I didn't really pick this up, SSX on the Xbox 360. Again, let me know in the comments below if that is a good copy of that game. Obviously I haven't played it yet. This is one I've been looking for a while. If you remember, I picked up the Street Fighter 4 Collector's Edition a while ago. It didn't have the game, and this one is an absolute no-brainer. Sonic the Hedgehog with Sonic Fever at the moment. If I didn't have this in my collection, I would have just flipped to CX. And yeah, there was just some really good games here. Lego Jurassic World, adding another copy of this into my collection because why not? I can't believe how often I keep scoring in that charity shop. I keep going in, and every time I do, they have more awesome stuff. So I hope the streak continues. But there is one lesson you need to take from this video, if nothing else, and that is always to ask for more. If you go into a charity shop to buy games, always ask if they have other games, because on that last visit, that is what I did, and I managed to pick up 4 more games, and these are probably the best pickups from that charity shop. Let me go through them all now. So we have Ghostbusters, the video game. I paid £2.50 for this one. This one would trade into CX for £5, but I'm going to be adding it into my collection. Similarly, we have Star Wars The Complete Saga for the Xbox 360. One of the very few Star Wars games I do not have. Once again, this was £2.50. If I was to trade it in, would be a £5. And then we have some slightly heavier hits. We have Lego The Avengers for the PlayStation 3. I, once again, do not have this. Recently, I've been picking up loads of Lego games for the PlayStation 3. Soon I'm going to have the whole set, but Lego games just trade in really well all the time. This was, again, £2.50 with trade in for £6. And this is probably the big one, Star Wars The Force Awakens for the Xbox One. This was £3, but this would trade in at CX for £10 and would cost £15. So picking this up for £3 is an absolute bargain. And these were games that hadn't been on the shelves yet. So I got to pick these before anyone else. So I paid £10.50 for all these games, and there was a lot more value there than I spent. And it's just a thing, look out for Lego games. They trade in really well. If you can get a Lego game for £1 or £2, pick it up. But of course, they're not the only video games I picked up from that same shop. And some of these, the value of these is absolutely incredible. For example, Sonic the Hedgehog at the moment in CX is selling for £18. I think it's safe to say we are in the middle of Sonic fever. So if you ever see this game, pick it up for that much. Also, it was really good to finally pick up Street Fighter IV because, as you know, I picked up that Street Fighter Collector's Edition a while ago, and unbeknownst to me, it did not actually have the game of it, so really cool to add that one to the collection. Add Midnight Club Free Dub Edition Remix. This is the best version of this game. This is the one you are looking for. So, for these free games, I paid £7.50. They're a total value, if I bought these all in CX, off the shelf of £33. That is nearly 10 times how much I paid for these free games. You gotta keep looking, folks, in those charity shops. Just a quick one, Dan. 10 times £7.50 would be £75. Sorry, I made a mistake there. I was basically thinking I paid £3.50 for all the games. I just don't know. It's been a long week. Finally, on the topic of CX, we have this copy of Dark Souls 2, which was just £1 and this trades in for £3 at CX. It's just little games like this which easily get you some decent trading credit. The yard sale may have been a bit of a bust, but I did manage to pick up this Atari Plug and Play for just £1, as well as this Fallout Vault Boy for just £1. So, you know, not all bad. Again, sadly, you can't win them all. Game hunting is about taking the good and the bad. So, you know, with a £1.60 spend at that midweek car boot, I did pick up this Star Wars light for just 10p, which was really embarrassing because the only smallest note I had on me was a £10 note, and the guy actually gave me change for a £10 note for a 10p item. The best thing is this does actually light up. It's kind of weird, it's hard to tell in this light, but it does change. It is a mood light. So I'm going to pop that just on the shelf just up there. That'll look lovely. Also picking up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie for just 50p with this lovely shiny cover, which is always good. These are the kind of films you want to pick up, the ones that are not on streaming websites. And also something we're seeing less and less of, a big box PC game. This is the 11th hour. I know literally nothing about this game. I don't know if I'll ever play it, but for the artwork alone, it's a cool pickup for £1. I'm always on the lookout for weird gaming merchandise whenever I go to charity shops, and these two items definitely fall into that category. First up, we have this 4th gen controller mug. You know, it's basically like a PlayStation 4 controller, which has been used into the shape of a mug. Not very functional, probably never going to use this, but it's just the kind of bits I like to have dotted around the shelf. Same as this PlayStation PS1 style wallet. Picking both these up for £4. They're just weird collector's items I like to have in the collection. Strategy guides always have and always will be one of my favourite things to pick up in charity shops and car boots, because then you don't have to pay postage on them. If you buy them on eBay, it's normally £4 to £5 to get them posted to your door, so if you see a decent game guide, pick it up. First off, we have Dragon Age Origins Awakening. It is one of my favourite RPGs of all time, so it's super cool to have the guide. And the next up we have Hunted the Demon's Forge, which is a game I've never played, so let me know in the comments down below if I should check that one out. Obviously there was that other guide there, but that was £15, so picking up both of these for £3 each, pretty happy. On to the last pickups of the video, and these are things I'm seeing less and less of, and one thing which I never see. So first off, I'm seeing less and less PlayStation 1 games. So these aren't the most amazing titles, but if I can see these cheap, I'm still going to pick them up. So first off, we have International Track and Field, the #1 controller breaking game of all time. Then we have Bust a Move 4, arguably one of the best puzzle games of all time, and an iconic rally game, The Rally, for the PS1. So these aren't exactly the most groundbreaking or amazing titles to pick up of all time, but cheap PlayStation 1 games in a charity shop in 2022, you know I'm going to pick them up. So our final pickup of this week's video is something I have never seen before, and that is a NES game in a charity shop. And this was just £4.99. So Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers may not be the most amazing NES game of all time, but just to see it in a charity shop in 2022 is just an experience if nothing else. And yeah, I didn't have this in the collection. It does have a bit of sticker residue there, but it'll come off simply. But yeah, £5 is an amazing pickup in this year. So there we have it. That is another week of game hunting. There were some hits, there were some misses, there were some losses, and there were some wins, but that is what game hunting is all about. You just have to keep on that grind and you will slowly build an amazing game collection. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please subscribe for more videos, and as always, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.